Good morning everyone, I hope we are well. In this lesson we're going to be learning two skills to do with percentages. The first skill we're going to address is writing one quantity as a percentage of another. I'm going to begin this lesson by asking you a question. I'm going to ask you, how many words in the English language can you think of that begin with cent? So pause the video to give yourself some time to think and then unpause the video when you're ready. Okay, so there's lots of different words you could have thought of. These are the ones that came to my head. So if you've ever been to America or if you've been to Europe, so $1 equals 100 cents or €1 equals 100 cents. So cent means a currency. There's 100 cents in a dollar. Another one you might have thought of is centimeters. So there are 100 centimeters in a meter. Another one you might have thought of is a century. So 1 century is the same as 100 years. And then my favourite one is the word percent or percentage. So that means per 100 because cent, as you can see from these three examples, means 100. So per cent means per 100. And one way people like to remember that is some people think that percentage sign almost looks like 100 scrambled up. You see that line in the middle, it looks like a 1. And then these two circles look like zeros. So per 100 is what percentage means. Okay, so let's try some problems together. First one, well, let's write 30 as a percentage of 100. So we have 30 out of 100. We know that percent means per 100. So 30 is 30% of 100 because it's 30 per 100. Let's try this one. Write 20 as a percentage of 100. Well, we have 20 per 100, so we can say that 20 is 20% of 100. But what happens when that denominator is not 100? Well, let's think about it. We have 20 per 50, but we don't want per 50, we don't want it out of 50. When we're thinking about percentages, we need it out of 100, because percent means per 100. So we need to find an equivalent fraction to 20 50ths where the denominator is 100. So how can I get from 50ths to 100ths like it was in the first two questions? We're thinking about equivalent fractions. Multiply the numerator and denominator by 2 because 50 times 2 gives me 100. 20 times 2 gives me 40, which means that 20 is 40% of 50. And when you think about it, that actually makes sense. So 20 is just below half of 50. Okay, so next question. Write 20 as a percentage of 25. Before we work this out, let's just come up with a reasonable estimate as to what the answer would be. 20 as a percentage of 25. 20 is quite close to 25, isn't it? So we know it's going to be much larger than 50%. We know it's over half. So if our answer is not larger than 50%, we know we might have made a mistake. Okay, so we have 20 out of 25, but we don't want it per 25. We don't want it out of 25. We want it to be out of 100 because percent means per 100. So what calculation takes me from 25 to 100? Well, I'm going to multiply by 4. Whatever I do to my denominator, I need to do the same to the numerator to keep those fractions equivalent, which means that 20 is 80% of 25. Alright, next one. Write 9 as a percentage of 25. So we have it as 9 out of 25. Can you predict what I'm going to do next? How do I get from 25 to 100? Well, 25 times by 4 gives me 100. So 9 times 4 gives me 36. So we could say that 9 is 36% of 25. Okay, let's try the last one. By far the trickiest one on here. Write 9 as a percentage of 24. So we have 9 out of 24. But we don't want it out of 24, we want it out of 100 because percent means per 100. However, 24 doesn't go into 100. I would have to multiply it by some complicated decimal. That's going to be very hard to do in one step, so I'm going to show you a trick. If a number doesn't go into 100, first of all let's make the denominator 1. So, if I divide the denominator by 24, that will turn my denominator into 1 because 24 divided by 24 gives me 1. 9 divided by 24, I have used a calculator for this one, it gives me 0.375. Okay, but I don't want my denominator to be 1, I want my denominator to be 100. So how do I get from 1 to 100? Well, I'm going to multiply by 100, which means that I have 37.5 per 100, which means that 9 is 37.5% of 24. So that key trick is if you have a trickier question where that denominator does not go into 100, first of all make it 1, because 1 does go into 100. Okay, so please find your worksheet attached for you on Google Classroom and have a go at task 1. Just let me know if you need any help with it at all. And these are your solutions to task 1. Okay, so let's address that second skill that I spoke about at the start of this video. So the second skill we're going to do today is how to calculate a percentage change. So let me give you some examples. So we're calculating the percentage change when, well, if we start off with 100 grams and my new value is 120 grams, well, what's the actual change? Well, it used to be 100 grams, but it became 120 grams. So we can say this quantity has increased by 20 grams. So what percentage is that though? Really, this question is saying, well, find 20 grams as a percentage of 100 grams. Well, what percent has it increased? Well, 20 out of 100 just means that I've had a 20% increase. Because it's out of 100, I have it as a percentage, because percent means per 100. So this means that there has been a 20% increase from that original value. Let's try the next one. Let's say we start off with 50 grams and we end up with 60 grams. Well, by how much has it increased? Well, it's increased by 10 grams. So really, we want to find 10 grams as a percentage of that original amount. Okay, so by what percentage has this increased? Well, it's increased by 10 grams out of 50 grams. But we don't want it out of 50, we want it out of 100, because percent means per 100, which means that if I multiply my numerator and denominator by 2, that means that it's 20 out of 100, which means a 20% increase. Okay, maybe you could pause the video and have a go at the next two questions yourself. Okay, so next question. So we start off with 50 grams, we end up with 40 grams. Well, what's changed? Well, in this question, it's got smaller. This quantity has decreased by 10 grams. So really, we're finding 10 grams as a percentage of 50 grams. So this next part of my calculation is going to be same as question 2. So 10 out of 50, let's make it out of 100. So that means it's 20 per 100, so it's 20%, and it's a 20% decrease in this question. Okay, last one. So probably the trickiest one on here. Well, we're starting off with 49 grams and we end up with 40 grams. Well, what's changed? This quantity has got smaller, but how much has it got smaller? Well, my quantity has decreased by 9 grams, right? So if we're trying to find 9 grams as a percentage of 49 grams, we're looking at 9 out of 49. 49 does not go into 100, so first of all, I'm going to make my denominator 1. Divide the numerator and denominator by 49. That tells me that I've got 0.18367 and so on, all over 1. Okay, so I just use the calculator to get this. But I don't want it out of 1, I want it out of 100, because percent means per 100. So I'm going to multiply my numerator and denominator by 100. So that tells me that I've got about 18% decrease, and I've just rounded that to the nearest percentage. So that nearest whole number, right? So it's 18% decrease. Okay, so please can you have a go at task 2 on your worksheet? Just let me know if you need any help. And then these are your solutions to task 2 for whenever you're ready. And if you're feeling confident, you can try the challenge if you have any spare time in this lesson. And these are the solutions to your challenge. Thank you very much, guys.